Could you turn away from someone on the brink of death? I couldn't. I didn't know how that choice would change my life, but I've never regretted it. Not once. It was the summer of 1985. Dawn was just breaking, the sun barely rising above the horizon. The chill of night still clung to the cabin floor. I stood on deck and pulled out a cigarette, placing it between my lips. As I reached to light it, I gazed out at the distant sea. That day, the ocean was strangely quiet. I learned for the first time how terrifying a waveless sea could be. It should have been empty, that's what the ocean is. Endless, unforgiving of human presence. But that day was different. I was captain of a deep-sea fishing vessel. 32 years old, in my prime. We'd finished 6 months of fishing and were heading back to Busan, passing through the South China Sea. At first, I thought it was debris. Wood fragments, maybe a torn fishing net. But as we drew closer, the shape became clearer. Too low, too small. Something barely floating, almost swallowed by the waves. Captain. The chief engineer beside me lowered his voice. He'd seen it too. We looked at each other in silence. In moments like these, words aren't needed. The heart already knows everything. As we got closer, I could see people on it. They barely looked human. Skeletal arms clinging to each other, children too weak to cry, hanging limp. Sun-scorched faces you couldn't tell person from shadow. Dozens of people crammed onto that tiny boat, bodies piled on bodies. I threw my cigarette into the sea. Stop. That one word stopped the ship. As the engine quieted, the sounds of the ocean grew louder. Breathing, waves, and something very faint. Human moaning. They were Vietnamese. Everyone called them that back then. Boat people. People who'd lost their country, lost their homes, pushed out onto the sea. I'd only read about them in newspapers, a few lines. But that day, the story was right in front of me. Help us. Someone cried out in a language that wasn't Korean or English. But I understood. The human voice has no borders. I started calculating. Fuel, drinking water, food, crew size. Numbers spun through my head, but my chest held an entirely different sound. If we took these people aboard, we'd be in danger. Company regulations didn't cover this. There might be disease. I didn't know where to take them. But above all those thoughts floated one simple question. If we sail past that boat, will these people be alive tonight? I already knew the answer. Let's pass by. The words came from my mouth. They didn't sound like my voice. Yes, sir. The chief engineer turned away. The ship began moving again. The engine hummed low. I walked into the wheelhouse. I looked only forward. I didn't look back. About 10 minutes passed. The ship moved steadily ahead. Behind us, that small boat was slowly growing distant. I spread out the navigation chart. Checked our route. 5 days to Busan. We just needed to stay on course. But my hands were shaking. I couldn't read the words on the chart clearly. They were blurred. I clenched my fists. Tried to calm down. This is the right choice. Our ship could be in danger too. I have to think about the crew. But something inside my chest was crumbling. Captain. A crew member opened the wheelhouse door and came in. A young man, 23 years old. Yes? Are you all right? Why? Nothing, it's just. You don't look well. The young man offered me a cup of water. I took it and drank. The water went down my throat, but my mouth remained bone dry. I'm fine. You can go. The young man left. I was alone again. Outside the window stretched the sea. The endless horizon. Sunlight dancing on the waves. Beautiful, like always. But why did it feel so heavy? I sank into my chair. Held my head. Closed my eyes. That's when they came to me. Those people on that small boat. Those skeletal arms clinging to each other. Children who couldn't even cry. Bodies hanging limp. Sun-scorched faces. What were they doing now? Were they watching our ship? Watching it sail away, feeling their last hope fade? If we sail past that boat, will these people be alive tonight? I already knew the answer. No, they won't survive. That boat was already half sunk. In a few hours, no, in minutes it would slip completely beneath the water. 96 people would disappear into the depths. Adults, children, grandmothers. All of them would die. Because of me. My chest felt like it would burst. I couldn't breathe. I shot to my feet. Rushed to the deck. Grabbed the railing and looked back. In the distance, very small, I could see that boat. Tiny as a dot. About to disappear. 96 people were on that boat. 96 people. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, once, twice, 3 times. And then I realized what I was doing right now. I was abandoning people I could save. 96 of them. To hell with company regulations. To hell with disease. What did my career matter? My safety? My future? Those people were dying right now. I ran into the wheelhouse. Stop. Stop right now. The ship stopped. The chief engineer came up in surprise. Captain, what's wrong? Turn around. What? Turn the ship around. Now. Captain, if we do that. I know everything, but we have to go back. I shouted. My voice cracked. The chief engineer looked straight at me. Then slowly nodded. Understood. The ship began to turn. Slowly, in a wide arc. I went out on deck. The crew gathered. Everyone. I looked at them. We're turning the ship around. We're going back to save those people. The crew looked at each other. Some faces showed surprise, others relief. I'll be honest. This violates regulations. The company won't let this go. I'll probably be fired. My voice trembled. You might face consequences too. But I can't abandon those people. I just can't. My voice shook. Will you do this with me? Silence fell. No one spoke. Then one crew member raised his hand. That 23-year-old young man. Captain, I agree. At his words, another crew member nodded. Me too. I agree as well. One by one, they raised their hands. All 25. Not one missing. Tears filled my eyes. Thank you, all of you. The chief engineer smiled and said, Captain, we're human too. If we left those people behind, we'd never sleep again. That's right. We'd have nightmares. Another crew member added. I turned away. In the distance, the small boat was coming closer again. The ship moved fast. Our hearts were urgent.
미나일 안더 레퓨지 보트.
On the small boat, despair was settling in. The big ship had passed. It seemed to stop. The refugees waved their hands. Save us, please save us. They shouted until their throats were raw. But the ship moved again. Started sailing away. No. A woman fell to her knees. She was holding a baby. The baby wasn't moving anymore. Please. But the ship grew smaller. About to disappear over the horizon. The young man hung his head. Next to him were his parents and younger siblings. Everyone sat there, powerless. It's over, he thought. 20 days since fleeing Vietnam. The water was gone. The food was gone. The boat was half submerged. In a few more hours it would sink completely. Then everyone would die. He looked up at the sky. The sun was so bright. Blinding. Tears fell. This is how it ends. Here. His mother gripped his hand. A trembling hand. He squeezed his mother's hand tight. His father hugged the younger siblings. I'm sorry, father murmured. An apology for failing to protect the family. No, father. It's not your fault, he said, but his voice had no strength. Everyone gave up. They didn't even cry anymore. Just quietly waited for the end. That's when it happened. An old man shouted, a ship. The ship is coming back. He raised his head. He couldn't believe it. In the distance, the disappearing ship was returning. At first, he wasn't sure. Maybe it was another ship. Maybe his eyes were playing tricks. But it was getting bigger. Yes, it was that ship. Coming back. Heading this way. It's coming back. It's coming back. People began to stand, waved their hands, started crying and laughing at the same time. He stood up too, raised both arms, waved with all his might. We're here. He shouted until his throat tore. Next to him, mother was crying. Father had his hands raised to the sky, praying. The ship drew closer, getting bigger. He could see people now. People standing on deck. He would never forget that moment. The moment of returning from death to life. The moment despair turned to hope. That moment, and the person who turned that ship around. When the ship stopped right beside them, a man on deck shouted, "Throw life jackets." Ropes flew over. Life jackets were tossed one by one. A ladder came down. People cried out. The relief of survival. A miraculous moment. He collapsed and wept. Thank you. He murmured in Vietnamese, in English, in words that weren't Korean. The words mixed together and became one. Only gratitude remained. Then he looked up and saw the people reaching down their hands. He grabbed that hand, grabbed it with all his strength. That hand pulled him up. From death to life. The rescue took 2 hours. We brought the refugees aboard one by one. When we counted, there were 96. Men, women, children, elderly. They'd come as families. Everyone was severely weakened. They'd been adrift for days without proper water. One grandmother had collapsed. Several babies hung limp. Bring water. Quickly, I shouted. The crew came out with canteens. Gave water to the refugees. Those who drank began to cry. The relief of survival. A woman knelt and grabbed my hands. She said something in Vietnamese. I didn't understand the words, but I understood she was saying thank you. It's okay. You're okay now. I helped the woman to her feet. The crew brought out their own food. Bread, instant noodles, canned goods. They shared what they were supposed to eat themselves. No one complained. Everyone knew. These people had been at death's door. That night, I sat in my cabin. Couldn't sleep. Stared at the radio. Obviously, the company would contact us again. Sure enough, at dawn the radio crackled to life. Captain, respond. I picked up the radio. Yes. Did you take all those people aboard? Yes. Are you out of your mind? Drop them at the nearest island immediately. That's an order. I took a deep breath. Then said, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. What? These people are dying. If I drop them on an island, they'll die. I won't kill people. Captain, are you disobeying orders? When you get back, you're fired. You understand? I understand. I switched off the radio. My hands trembled. Fired. That word echoed in my head. My career as a deep-sea captain was over. I'd never command a big ship again. Then came a knock at the door. Come in. The chief engineer entered. He held 2 cups of instant noodles. Captain, how about some late-night food? I took one. We ate in silence for a while. Captain, do you regret it? The chief engineer asked. I shook my head. No, I don't regret it. If I faced the same situation again, I'd do the same thing. We feel the same. All the crew are on your side. The chief engineer smiled. I smiled too. That night, I went out on deck. Refugees were lying here and there, sleeping. The crew had given them their own blankets. A child slept in his mother's arms. His face was peaceful. I watched that scene and thought, well done. This is right. It would take 10 days to reach Busan port. Those 10 days were the longest and shortest of my life. Long because of the cold voice from company headquarters crackling through the radio each night. Short because we were protecting 96 lives coming back from the brink of death. The first night, after we'd brought the refugees aboard, I called all the crew together. I'll be honest with you. The food and water on this ship will last 25 people for 10 days. Now we have 121. The crew nodded quietly. We have to cut in half. No, more than half. These people are severely weakened. They need more food to recover. At my words, a young crew member raised his hand. Captain, we'll be fine. We're young. We can manage. That's right. Compared to what those people have been through, a little hunger is nothing. Another crew member added. I looked at them. Young men in their 20s and 30s. People who made their living through hard labor at sea. And they were willing to give up their food. Thank you, all of you. My voice trembled. From that day on, the crew cut down to 2 meals a day. And only half portions at that. We gave the refugees 3 meals a day. We gave extra to the children and elderly. Water was the same. The crew rationed themselves to 1 cup a day. They couldn't wash. They stayed dirty and sweaty. But we gave the refugees plenty of water. On the 3rd day, the chief engineer came to me. Captain, I've cleared out my cabin. Let the children use it. What? Where will you sleep? I'll sleep on deck. Sleeping under the stars is romantic, isn't it? The chief engineer laughed. But I knew how hard it was to sleep on deck. The night sea was cold. There was dew and harsh wind. I'll clear mine too. Another crew member said. Me too. Same here. One by one, they raised their hands. In the end, most of the crew cleared their cabins. Gave them to the refugee families. I looked at the crew and realized these men were the real heroes. Not me. Them. That night, I walked the deck. Low breathing sounds came from everywhere. Crew members sleeping on deck with a single blanket. Some in corners of the engine room, some huddled by the storage area. I looked through a cabin window. Inside, refugee families were sleeping comfortably. Children in their mothers' arms, grandmothers on beds. The first real sleep they'd had in so long. My chest felt warm. This is right. We're doing the right thing. On the fourth day, one crew member collapsed. Our youngest, 21 years old. Malnutrition. He'd eaten too little, worked too hard. This kid, he was giving his food to the children. The chief engineer sighed. I quickly moved the crew member to a cabin. Made him drink water and rest. Captain, I'm fine. I just need a little rest. The crew member smiled weakly. His face was pale. Why did you give away your own food? I asked. The children, they looked so hungry. I thought I could survive without eating. But the children looked like they'd die. I had no words. By the sixth day, water was critically low. We'd been consuming it faster than planned. At this rate, we'd run out before reaching Busan. I told the crew, from today, we're cutting down to half a cup per day. Captain, what about the refugees? They stay at 1 cup. We have to be the ones who sacrifice. The crew nodded. No one complained. Half a cup of water per day. Do you know how little that is? 1 sip in the morning, 1 in the evening. That was all. Lips cracked, throats burned. But they endured. On the 7th day, the company radioed again. This time more forceful. Captain, build a raft immediately. A raft? Put those people on a raft and leave them at an uninhabited island. Execute this order now. I gripped the radio tight. Understood. I turned off the radio and called the crew together. The company has ordered us to build a raft. The crew's faces hardened. To build a raft. And leave the refugees on an uninhabited island. Get ready. Find wood, prepare rope. I said this and turned away. Went into my cabin. Sat alone. Held my head. What should I do? Do I really have to build a raft? Save these people only to abandon them again? I went out on deck. The crew were looking at wood. They'd brought out rope too. But no one was moving. Just standing there. I looked at the refugees. Children sleeping in crew members' arms. The grandmother covered with a blanket. The young man gazing at stars. I hated myself. I'd saved people. But now I was going to abandon them again. Even if it was company orders, I'm human, aren't I? How can you abandon people you've saved? I called the crew together again. Midnight. Everyone. The crew gathered. Don't build the raft. What? I'm refusing the company's order. I'm taking these people all the way to Busan. The crew looked at me. You might face consequences too. But I can't abandon these people. I just can't. My voice shook. Will you do this with me? One crew member nodded. Then another, and another. All of them nodded. Captain, that's what we wanted too. The chief engineer said. When we were ordered to build the raft, we all suffered. How could we abandon those people again? Even though it was your order, we prepared, but we just couldn't do it. Another crew member said. I hugged them. Thank you so much. That night, a young man in a corner of the deck saw everything. He hadn't slept. He saw the crew gather. Saw them looking at wood. Preparing rope. They're going to abandon us. He despaired. Thought he'd survived, only to be abandoned again. But about an hour later, the crew gathered again. This time the captain was there too. He heard the captain's voice. Don't build the raft. I'm taking these people all the way. Whatever the company says, I'll take responsibility. In that moment, the young man understood. The captain was fighting. With the company, with regulations, and with himself. And in the end, he'd chosen them. The young man quietly cried there. Gratefully. A week passed. Food was completely gone. All that remained was 1 bag of rice. We'll make porridge with this. If we make it thin, everyone can have 1 meal. The cook said. That evening, we ate porridge as thin as water. Porridge with just a few grains of rice floating in it. But no one complained. They even laughed while eating. Captain, I needed to diet anyway. One crew member joked. Everyone laughed. Laughter to forget the hunger. That young man came to find me. He held a bowl of porridge. Captain, this is for you. He was trying to give me his portion. No, you eat. You need it. I waved him off. Captain, you give us life. We give you food. Same. The young man insisted. His eyes were earnest. I took that bowl of porridge. But I didn't eat it. Later, I secretly gave it to a child. On the 9th day, we finally saw the coast of Busan. Land. The crew cheered. Land. We can see land. The refugees rushed to the deck too. Everyone was crying. Relief at survival. Relief that it was over. All those emotions poured out as tears. I watched from the wheelhouse. People who'd been at death's door 10 days ago were now laughing and crying. Alive. All of them. In that moment, I was certain. It was the right choice. November 24, 1985, 10 a.m. Our ship arrived at Busan port. The dock was already crowded. Police cars, ambulances, media vehicles. And I could see the company car too. As soon as we docked, a company director came aboard. 2 people followed behind him. Their faces were grim. "Let's go to the captain's cabin," the director said coldly. I followed. As soon as the cabin door closed, the director held out papers. Termination notice. Sign it. Insubordination, violation of regulations, massive damages to the company. The reasons are sufficient. I took the papers. Termination notice. I'd expected this. We'll notify other deep-sea fishing companies too. You'll never work in this industry again. The director's voice was calm. I understand. I signed. My hand didn't shake. I had no regrets. Pack your things and leave. Today. The director turned and left. I looked out the window. The refugees were disembarking. Some were taken by ambulance, others walked off. That young man looked back at me as he descended. He waved. I waved back. That evening, I packed alone. I'd worked for this company for nearly 20 years. It had taken 10 years to become captain. All of it ended in one day. The crew came to see me. All 25. Captain. The chief engineer's voice trembled. It's okay. You're not at fault. It was my decision. No. We did this together. We share responsibility. But you weren't fired. That's good. I smiled. Captain. The youngest crew member began to cry. The other crew members' eyes turned red. Don't cry. I'm fine. Really. I hugged them. One by one. Because of you all, 96 people are alive. That's enough. That's all that matters. The next day, I returned to my hometown of Tongyang. On a small bus, with my bags, alone. My wife was waiting at the gate. Honey. My wife ran and hugged me. She was crying. It's okay. Everything's okay. I comforted my wife. It was in the newspapers. That you were fired. That you saved all those people. I know. It's okay. We went inside. A small house. A house we'd bought with my deep-sea captain's salary. Now that salary was gone. That night, I told my wife everything. About that day at sea. The small boat, the 96 people, the crew's sacrifice, the 10-day journey. My wife held my hands. You did well, honey. You saved people. That's what matters most. But now we have no income. We'll manage. We'll get by. You did the right thing. That's enough. My wife's eyes held tears, but she was smiling. The next day, I started looking for work. It wasn't easy. No one would hire someone with deep-sea fishing experience. Word had spread. The captain who'd disobeyed orders. A month passed. 2 months. I still hadn't found work. Our savings started dwindling. Honey, don't worry. We'll find something. My wife comforted me. Eventually, I started working at the fish market. Carrying fish, breaking ice, cleaning. From deep-sea captain to fish market laborer. The pay was less than 1/10 of what I'd made as captain. Even working all day, it was barely enough. My hands grew rough, my back ached. One day, the market boss called me over. You used to be a deep-sea captain? Yes. Then why are you doing this kind of work here? I couldn't find anything else. The boss looked at me for a while. I saw it in the newspaper. About you saving those refugees. Getting fired for it. Yes. That was foolish. You should have followed company orders. My heart sank. I thought he was going to fire me. But, the boss continued, I like that kind of fool. I'm giving you a raise. Not much, but still. I looked up. The boss was smiling. Saving people is just what humans should do. You did the right thing. Those words brought tears to my eyes. Years passed. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I got a small boat. Second-hand but mine. I started going out to fish on my own. The income was still meager. Nothing compared to my captain's days. But it was okay. We could feed the family. It was hard. Body and spirit. Sometimes I wondered what if I'd followed company orders back then? But that thought never lasted long. Instead, I remembered. That day's sea, that small boat, those 96 faces. And then I'd find strength again. I'd tell myself it was the right choice, that I didn't regret it. And so 19 years passed. Years flowed by. 1990, 1995, 2000. I piloted my small boat out to sea. My face grew more lined, my hands more weathered. I never spoke about it to anyone. Not to my wife, not to my children. They didn't know the details. I just said I'd left the company due to circumstances. It didn't seem worth bragging about or lamenting over. Sometimes at night, sitting alone, I'd remember. That day's sea, that small boat, 96 faces. That young man waving. But even those memories came less frequently. Life was too busy. I'd wake at 4 a.m. to prepare the boat. At sea by 5, reading the tides, casting nets, catching fish. On good days, I'd make a little money at the market. On bad days, not even enough for fuel. My back hurt. My knees too. My fingers had arthritis, they'd ache before rain. Past 50, the body wasn't what it used to be. Honey, rest today? The weather's not good. My wife would say, worried. I'm fine. If I rest, there's no money. I'd answer like that and leave. Same conversation every day. We had debts too. Money borrowed to buy the boat, buy nets. I paid little by little, but the end seemed distant. Sometimes I felt lost. But before sleep, I'd think at least I didn't abandon people. They're alive. Somewhere, breathing. That's enough. That one thought sustained me. When times were hard, when I wanted to give up, I'd remember that day. Then I could stand again. And so 19 years passed. Since that day in 1985. Spring 2004. One afternoon, I was mending nets. Sitting in the front yard of our house. Torn nets needed fixing. I had no money for new ones. Then my wife came running out. Honey, honey. She was breathless. What is it? A call. There's a call. A call? From who? From abroad. From America. I was puzzled. America? We'd never get a call from America. Must be a wrong number? No. They're asking for you. The Korean is rough, but they asked if the captain is here. Captain. That word made my heart jump. I dropped the nets and stood. Went inside. The phone receiver lay on the table. With trembling hands, I picked it up. Hello? Captain. Is this you? An unfamiliar voice. The Korean was awkward. But that intonation, that feeling. I'd heard it somewhere before. Who is this? My voice shook too. I am Nguyen. 1985. You saved me, Captain. The world seemed to stop. The hand holding the receiver went limp. My legs buckled. I sank down where I stood. Nguyen. You. Is it really you? Yes, Captain. It's me. Do you remember? On the boat then. Do you remember me? Tears came. Suddenly, without warning, tears poured out. 19 years. 19 years of memories I'd kept locked in my heart suddenly flooded out. I remember. My throat closed up. I couldn't speak properly. Captain. I searched for 17 years. I finally found you. Nguyen's voice trembled too. 17 years. 17 whole years? Yes. I wanted to see you again, Captain. I wanted to say thank you. I couldn't speak. Just cried. My wife sat beside me. Put her arms around my shoulders. She was crying too. Captain, how are you now? Nguyen asked. I'm doing well. Really? Really well? Yes. I'm well. That's good. That's so good. Relief filled Nguyen's voice. Captain, I want to invite you. To America. Please come. I want to see you again. And I want to say thank you to your face. I looked out the window. Saw my small boat. Old and worn. Nguyen. My voice trembled. If you're healthy and living well, that's enough. Really? But Captain, no. Did I do something so great? I just did what any person should do. Tears flowed. My throat caught. 19 years. I've never regretted it. Not once. When times were hard, when I was tired, just thinking you were alive somewhere kept me going. That was everything, Captain. So today, hearing your voice today, I realized that you're alive, that you can call like this. That's the greatest gift in the world to me. My wife buried her face in my shoulder, crying. So don't worry about inviting me. That you remembered me, that you searched for 17 years, that you didn't forget, that alone is enough, more than enough. I took a deep breath. My chest felt like bursting. Nguyen, thank you. Thank you for finding me. Thank you so much. From the phone came the sound of Nguyen sobbing. Captain. He was crying. I was crying too. That you're living happily. That you're with your family. That proves my choice was right. That's enough. For me, that's enough. For a while, we just held the phone and cried. Across the Pacific Ocean, across 19 years. Captain, Nguyen finally continued, what you gave us wasn't just life. It was hope. It was trust in people. That day, on the boat, I learned that there are still good people in the world. With that trust, I've lived these 19 years. When times were hard, I'd think I must live like the captain. I must help others like the captain did. At those words, I couldn't speak anymore. The life you gave me, I didn't waste it. I used it to care for other lives. Please be proud, Nguyen. So I must see you. I want to look at your face and tell you that I became a good person because of you. That you weren't wrong. I hung my head. Tears dropped. Thank you, Nguyen. That you lived that way, thank you. No, Captain. I'm more grateful. We cried in silence again for a while. Captain, I won't give up. We will meet again. I'll come to Korea or you'll come to America. Someday, we'll definitely meet. Yes, someday. Promise me. Please stay healthy. Until I come to see you. I promise. I promise too. To live as a good person like you. To never forget the heart you showed us. After hanging up, I sat there for a long time. My wife rubbed my back. Honey, that's wonderful. Yes, what you did wasn't wasted. Those people remember. I nodded. I went outside, stood in the yard and looked at the sea. The sun was setting. The sky turned red. Was it a sunset like this 19 years ago? I remembered that day. The calm sea, the small boat, people at death's door. The moment I decided to turn the ship around. I didn't know then what that choice would mean, how it would affect someone's life. But today, I understood. My choice was right. It took 19 years, but today I got my answer. What I'd kept locked inside was released. The weight I'd carried alone for 19 years felt a little lighter. Someone remembered, searched for 17 years, didn't forget. That was enough. Really. A few days passed. I still went out at dawn. Cast nets, caught fish, sold them at market. Daily life hadn't changed, but something was different. My chest felt lighter somehow. The weight I'd carried alone for 19 years seemed to have lifted a bit. About a week later, a postman came to the house. Registered international mail. International mail? I was puzzled. I'd never received mail from abroad. I opened the envelope. Inside was a letter and an airplane ticket. My hands trembled. I unfolded the letter. Written in awkward Korean. Dear Captain, I am Nguyen. After talking with you, I couldn't sleep. Because a dream I'd held for 19 years came true. But hearing your voice isn't enough. I must see your face. I want to express my gratitude in person. You said you don't need an invitation, but I need it. It's my life's wish. Please don't refuse. This airplane ticket is my heart. Compared to the life you gave me, it's nothing. Please come to Los Angeles, America. Not just me, many people from that day are waiting. Everyone wants to see you. Please come. May 2004. Nguyen. I read the letter again and again. Tears blurred the words. I looked at the ticket. Busan to Los Angeles. Round trip. The date was 1 month away. Honey. I called my wife. My voice shook. My wife rushed over. Saw the letter and ticket and covered her mouth. Honey. This. Nguyen sent it. Says I must come. You have to go. Of course you have to go. My wife held my hands. But I don't have proper clothes. There's so much to prepare. We'll manage. We'll prepare everything. You must go, honey. Those people are waiting. I looked at the letter again. The awkward handwriting, but I could feel the heart in it. I'll go. From that day, preparation began. My wife went to the market and bought fabric. Made suit pants herself. Worked the sewing machine through the night. Honey, just buy them ready-made? This way has more heart. It's for you to wear. She altered an old shirt, ironed it. Polished old shoes, polished them again. Neighbors heard the news and came by. Captain, you're going to America? Yes, that's right. That's wonderful. Congratulations. They collected a little money. Not much, but the gesture touched me. Take this and use it there. America's expensive, they say. I can't accept this. Please take it. We're proud of you too. Proud as people of Tongyang. I took that money and cried. Grateful for the neighbors' warm hearts. A month passed quickly. The day of departure came. The bus to Busan Airport took 3 hours. My wife came with me. She held my hand tight the whole way. I'm nervous. I murmured. It'll be fine. You'll do well. We reached the airport. A sight I'd never seen before. Such a huge building, so many people. I was a country fisherman. Everything was unfamiliar. After check-in, I stood at the departure gate. Where I'd have to leave my wife. Honey, I'm going. Yes. Take care. And hold your head high. You're a person to be proud of. My wife straightened my collar. Tears in her eyes. Thank you. Thank you for everything. I hugged my wife. For a long time. It was my first time on an airplane. My legs shook sitting there. I closed my eyes during takeoff. Afraid. But looking out the window, I could see clouds. Flying above the sky. Amazing. It took 12 hours. Long. I couldn't sleep properly. Kept thinking, what does Nguyen look like now? How are the others living? We arrived at Los Angeles Airport. June 15, 2004, 4 p.m. After immigration, I walked out. So many people. English everywhere. I didn't understand a word. I stood there, confused about where to go, when I heard someone calling. Captain, Captain. I turned. A man was running toward me. With about 30 people. They held a banner. Welcome, our hero Captain. Written in Korean. The man stood before me. He looked to be in his mid-40s. His eyes were red. Captain, it's me, Nguyen. In that instant, I knew. Those eyes. The eyes that had looked at me 19 years ago on that boat. Nguyen. I hugged him. Tight. 19 years. Captain, Captain. Nguyen buried his face in my back and cried. I cried too. In the middle of the airport, we held each other and wept. 19 years. Such a long time. But in that moment, the years vanished. We'd met again. Just like that moment we'd clasped hands at sea. A miracle. A true miracle. Chapter 4, Confession of Truth and Healing. Others came closer too. One by one, they hugged me. Everyone was crying. Captain, do you remember? It's me. On the boat. A woman spoke. She looked about 40. I'm not sure. I was 10 years old. The first child you lifted onto the ship. Ah, that little girl. So light it made my heart sink. You. It's you? Yes. It's me. The woman cried and laughed. I cried and laughed too. An elderly woman approached. She held my hands and then knelt down. No, ma'am. Please, don't. I quickly helped her stand. The grandmother said something in Vietnamese. Nguyen translated. She says because of you, she's been able to see her grandchildren. She says you're the family's benefactor. Deep wrinkles lined the grandmother's eyes. Tears flowed through them. I held the grandmother's hands tight. I had no words. A week passed. The days in Los Angeles were dreamlike. Every day, meeting someone, talking. People who'd been on that boat, their families. Everyone welcomed me, but still, something heavy lingered in a corner of my heart. Something I'd carried alone for 19 years. Something I'd never told anyone. One evening, I went to Nguyen's restaurant. After all the customers had left, when it was quiet. Nguyen made tea. Captain, please relax. I sipped the tea. It was warm. We sat in silence for a while. Nguyen didn't rush me, just waited, watching. Nguyen, I began. My voice trembled. Yes, Captain, there's something. I need to tell you. Something I haven't told anyone in 19 years. Nguyen leaned forward, his expression serious. Please tell me, Captain. I took a deep breath. Then slowly began. That day, after we rescued you, my hands shook. I set down the teacup. The company radioed. At first they said to drop you at an uninhabited island. I refused. Then, my throat closed. They gave a stronger order. Build a raft immediately. Put you all on it and leave you on an island. Nguyen's face froze. I passed that order to the crew. My voice trembled. I told them to build a raft. Ordered them to find wood, prepare rope. Tears fell. That night, I went on deck and saw you all. Children sleeping in crew members' arms, the grandmother covered with a blanket, you. You were watching the stars. I covered my face with my hands. Seeing that, I hated myself. I'd saved you, and now I was going to abandon you. Even if it was company orders, I'm human, aren't I? How could I abandon people I'd saved? I couldn't continue. Words wouldn't come. I called the crew together again. Midnight, and I said, don't build the raft. I'm refusing the company's order. I'm taking these people all the way to Busan. My shoulders shook. But those few hours, the hours when I'd ordered the raft built, they've haunted me for 19 years. Was I really going to abandon you? Was I a hypocrite? I couldn't speak anymore. I hung my head and cried. Captain, Nguyen's voice, trembling. I knew. I looked up at Nguyen. He was crying too. That night, I wasn't sleeping. I was in a corner of the deck. Nguyen said, I saw the crew gather. Saw them looking at wood. Preparing rope. I wondered what was happening. He wiped his tears. Then one crew member sighed and said, the captain ordered us to build a raft. Company orders. In that moment, I understood. Ah, they're abandoning us. That's what's happening. Nguyen's voice broke. I despaired. I thought we'd survived, only to be abandoned again. I cried. But I thought it couldn't be helped. We were a burden. I looked at him, tears flowing. But, Nguyen continued. About an hour later, the crew gathered again. This time you were there too. I heard your voice. Don't build the raft. I'm taking these people all the way. Whatever the company says, I'll take responsibility. That's what you said. Tears streamed from Nguyen's eyes. In that moment, I understood. You were fighting. With the company, with regulations, and with yourself. Nguyen, you weren't trying to abandon us. You were suffering between orders and conscience. And in the end, you chose conscience. Nguyen stood, came to me, knelt down. Captain, I know how difficult that choice was. How terrifying it is to refuse orders, to give up your future. Stand up, Nguyen. Please. No. Listen. Nguyen held my hands. You didn't save us once. You saved us twice. When you took us aboard, and when you said not to build the raft. If you've carried guilt for 19 years, I've carried gratitude for 19 years. That night, hearing your voice, I believed there were still good people in the world. Nguyen's voice trembled. With that belief, I've lived 19 years. When times were hard, I'd think I must live like the captain. I must live by my conscience. I helped Nguyen stand, hugged him tight. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. No, Captain. Tears came again, but this time, they weren't sad tears. They were tears of release. Of finally setting down the burden I'd carried alone for 19 years. Thank you, Nguyen. That you knew. No, thank you, Captain. We laughed, cried and laughed. That night, back at my lodging, I looked out the window. Stars shone. I remembered that night 19 years ago. The moment on deck when I told the crew, don't build the raft. I'm taking these people all the way. How much I'd suffered before saying those words. How much I'd wavered. But Nguyen had heard, and he remembered. My struggle, my fight, my choice. And he understood. For the first time, truly the first time, I felt at peace. The guilt was gone. The weight that had pressed on my chest for 19 years had lifted. I called my wife. Hello. Yes, how did it go? I told him everything. And? Nguyen. He knew. About that night. My throat caught. And he understood. He said it wasn't forgiveness but gratitude. That's wonderful. That's truly wonderful. My wife was crying too. Honey, I'm okay now. Really okay. Yes, I know. I hung up and lay on the bed. And for the first time in my life, I slept peacefully. No dreams, no worries. For the first time in 19 years, I could truly rest. My last day in Los Angeles was approaching. 2 weeks had passed in a flash. Every day had been like a dream. On the morning of departure, many people came to the airport. To say goodbye, Nguyen held my hand. Captain, you can come again, can't you? Of course. If you invite me, I'll come. It's a promise. And, I'll come to Korea too. I really want to visit your hometown. You're welcome anytime. I said goodbye to each person. Hugs, handshakes, wiping tears. Stay well, Captain. See you again. We love you, Captain. Sitting on the plane, I looked out the window. Los Angeles grew smaller. 2 dreamlike weeks were over. But it wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. When I got home, it was night. My wife was waiting at the gate. Honey. She ran and hugged me. I'm home. How was it? I can't put it into words. It was so good. A few months later, the phone rang at home. Is this the captain's residence? Yes, who's calling? This is KBS. We're a documentary production team, and we'd like to film your story. That's how filming began. The crew came down to Tongyang. Filming continued for a week. Me going out on the boat at dawn, casting nets, working at the fish market. The crew also flew to America to interview Nguyen. A few days later, the director called. Captain, Nguyen's interview was incredibly moving. Really? Yes. Do you know what Nguyen does now? What kind of work? He's a nurse. A hospice nurse caring for critically ill patients. I was shocked. A nurse? Yes. And he works with terminal cancer patients, people who can't recover. It's the hardest work. Nguyen said that because you saved his life, he wanted to do work caring for lives. The director's voice trembled. He's been doing it for over 20 years. He said he wanted to live like you. After hanging up, I sat stunned for a long time. Nguyen, a nurse, caring for dying people. My chest swelled with emotion. A few months later, the documentary aired. October 2009. A Connection, The Captain and 96 Refugees. On the day it aired, I watched at home. With my wife. Nguyen's interview came on. It was a hospital corridor. Nguyen wore a nurse's uniform. I'm a hospice nurse. I care for patients who are difficult to recover. Nguyen said, why did I choose this work? Because of the captain. The scene changed to a hospital room. Nguyen was caring for an elderly woman. Holding her hand, tucking in her blanket, talking to her. When the captain saved me at sea, I was at death's door. I had no hope of living. Nguyen's voice narrated, but the captain didn't give up. He protected us until the end. That's why I survived. The screen showed a close-up of Nguyen's face. Tears in his eyes. I wanted to repay that debt. I wanted to share the life I was given with others. Is that why you became a nurse? The production crew asked. Yes. I chose hospice specifically because I wanted to be with people facing death. To let them feel they're not alone. The screen showed Nguyen holding a patient's hand. The captain did that. Even in despair, he reached out his hand. I want to do the same. The scene changed. Nguyen was being interviewed on a hospital rooftop. This work is hard. Every time a patient passes, it hurts. But I can't give up. Why not? Because the captain didn't give up. He refused company orders, lost his job, but kept protecting us. Nguyen looked up at the sky. I remember that heart. Every day when I go to work, I think live like the captain. Don't give up on people until the end. The screen continued showing Nguyen caring for patients. Preparing medicine, being a companion, comforting families. Many patients thank me, but I'm more grateful. Grateful to the captain for letting me do this work. It was the final scene. Nguyen looked straight at the camera. Captain, I didn't waste the life you gave me. I used it to care for other lives. Please be proud. Tears flowed. And thank you. Forever grateful. Captain. The screen went dark. I sat there crying for a long time. The next day, phone calls poured in. Relatives, friends, old colleagues. Everyone had watched. About a month later, a letter arrived. Dear Captain, I'm a nursing student living in Gyeonggi Province. I'm writing after being moved by the program. Actually, I was going to give up becoming a nurse. The studying is hard, the practicals are hard. But after seeing Nguyen's story, my mind changed. Nursing is work that cares for lives. The life the captain saved goes on to save other lives. I want to live that way too. Like Nguyen, like you. I won't give up. I'll study hard and become a good nurse. Thank you for giving me hope. Lee Ji-yun. I read the letter again and again. Tears came. My story, Nguyen's story, giving someone hope like this. More letters kept coming. Medical students, nursing students, students dreaming of becoming social workers. In the spring of 2010, a human rights organization contacted me. Captain, we'd like to give you a Human Rights Award. The ceremony was held in Seoul. A big hotel. I received the plaque. It was heavy. Human Rights Award. Courage that saved lives at sea. To the captain, I stood before the microphone. I'm not a special person. I just did what any human should do. The audience was quiet, but I'll accept this award. Because I'm not receiving it alone. I'm receiving it with 25 crew members. And with 96 refugees. Applause erupted. That summer, Tongyang City erected a monument. On a hill overlooking the Tongyang coast. Captain of Life. November 14, 1985. In memory of the captain who saved 96 lives in the South China Sea. I stood before the monument and cried. That evening, I stood alone before the monument. The sun was setting. The sea turned red. I thought suddenly. That day in 1985, I just saved people. That was all. But that choice grew so large. Became a documentary, an award, a monument, someone's hope. I hadn't intended it. I'd just done what was right. And so I understood. The right thing is never small. It spreads like seeds. My choice saved 96 people who had children who now influence hundreds. And it will keep spreading. To people who see this monument, who hear my story. Forever. I looked at the sea. A quiet sea, only the sound of waves. But somewhere in that sea, the people I saved are living. Are they watching the sunset too? Thinking of me? I smiled. It was okay. If they were happy, that was enough. Because that's all I'd wanted. Even now, I take my small boat out to sea. Every dawn. I'm old. My back hurts, my hands shake. But it's okay. The sea is still vast. The sky is still blue. And I know, that day in 1985, the choice I made wasn't wrong. 96 lives. Their children, their grandchildren. The countless people they've influenced. My choice lives on, spreading like waves. Forever. That's enough. Really. Looking at the sea, I think. To save a person, it's not just saving one person. It's saving that person's future, their dreams, their love, everything. And that choice lives forever. The 96 I saved went on to save others, who saved others. Goodness spreads that way, endlessly. I still go out to sea today. Pilot my small boat, cast my nets, catch fish. An ordinary day, but I know, my life isn't ordinary, because I saved people, and those people are still alive. Breathing, laughing, loving, dreaming. That's enough. That's all that matters. I am at peace, truly. The end. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.